You are listening to the World Sports Show on WPPM-LP Philadelphia. Soccer-based sports talk covering local, nation, and global soccer. Broadcasting from the Philly Cam studio in Center City, Philadelphia on 106.5 FM.
And welcome to World Sports Show. Charlie Flowe here on a beautiful Monday night, February the 12th, 2018. World Sports Show coming live on WPPN LP. Here with John DiCriscio working the boards. We have a guest in his studio tonight, Gigio Longo. Thank you for joining us tonight, Gigio.
Hey, thank you.
So, lots to talk about. Big shout out. Just brought us some pizza in from Alice Pizza, his place at 15th and Locust. So, it's always good to go on air with a full belly.
Absolutely. It's still got it. I'm trying to balance the board and get the microphone going.
You got sauce on the board.
Sauce on the board. Yeah. Good night for the radio show. We're like we pulled out on Twitter at World Sports Show. It is National Radio Day tomorrow.
Yeah, World Radio Day tomorrow. It's
World
huge.
Radio Day, celebrating sports radio, which could be us, possibly.
That is us. Worked out well. So, yeah, tomorrow, February 13th. Sorry, I can't even get my date straight. World Radio Day. So, check all the hashtags out related to World Radio Day and sports and radio. And really, really big for us being that we are, mostly talking about soccer, football on the airwaves. And, I think that's the big thing. We're in a town that loves the American football. That's the big sport in America here, big sport in Philadelphia. It is a American football town, but hey, thank you to the people here at Philly Cam and WPPN LP for giving us the opportunity to get on the airwaves. Me and you spent many years on the internet and many years on the AM airwaves, but it's good to have, soccer talking over the FM airwaves.
That's right. Just looking back, it's over 9 years, coming up on 10 years.
Yeah.
Of World Sports Show talk radio. It's been a long journey.
It has. We've gotten to know each other a lot. We've done a lot of eating together,
right.
Gone to a lot of games together. It's been a lot of friendships made along the way. And, it is crazy to think that we basically debuted at the same time as the Philadelphia Union and the Philadelphia Independence, and that's what kind of drove us to create the show is the starting of both of those organizations. And they're going into, Philadelphia Independence, unfortunately, does not exist anymore, but Philadelphia Union, they'll be starting up, another season.
That's right. And just a little bit of house cleaning at World Sports Show. Mailbag at worldsportshow.com is hit us up on email. We'll take feedback at the end of the show. We usually go over mailbag questions, comments. And for those people out there driving on 95, we do get some comments, so keep the hands on the wheels.
Yeah, truckers.
Use the speaker. So it should be a good show tonight. A lot to talk about.
Yeah, big news in U.S. soccer. They, elected a new president, that kind of a surprise. It's not a big surprise if you look at it was the former vice president, Carlos Cardinho, that he was the former VP, but it wasn't a lot of promotion and talk because you had at the United Soccer Convention a few weeks ago, you had all the other candidates doing little roundtable speaking, one-on-ones like Hope Solo, Eric Winalda, all the different candidates had, Kathy Carter. They had different things where they spoke to the fans. They were on different, outlets. Some were on different radio appearances, TV appearances, constantly putting out their reasoning. And then the MPSL, the league that I coach in, our league, and then even the club that I coach with, Junior Lone Star, came out and said they were in full support of Eric Winalda. He was big in favor of the relegation and promotion type deal within U.S. soccer. So that definitely got a lot of interest from the smaller leagues, down like, that feel like your teams like Cincinnati that are in the USL Pro, but they're producing NFL type of numbers for games. They're not just producing like MLS stadium size. They're producing huge numbers. So there is that debate that, hey, why not us? So the election happened, and it's a surprise, but when I think you do the actual reading and research on how the voting takes place and the weight of every organization involves, vote, how much, poll they have, then you realize, it's probably going to still be the old boys club. I don't think really anything's going to change currently, nothing immediate, nothing's getting shaken up right now.
kind of right about that. But the one thing I noticed was so many different sources of information. It was tough to actually follow what was going on.
Yeah.
Follow, a unique situation where the votes are coming from, who gets to say what, the timelines. It was just pretty much all of a sudden, boom, we got an election going on here, and we're going to get results. So,
some people didn't vote that had declined. Was some of the votes? We some big names when we look at the website of who declined. And I remember I read something from Grant Wall about Heather O'Reilly flying in from London, participating in the vote, and then some of the people declined, didn't even come in. And it's like he called a couple people out, and hey, I'm all for that. Calling out people that are big in U.S. soccer that declined their vote just didn't come. It's like, I don't get that. It's kind of, that's a big vote. It's funny that us in the soccer world, I cared more about this election than I did our actual U.S. presidential election. Because it affects me, all of us in this room, because we're all involved in the game, in the U.S. game, whether we're coaching, we're training, we're watching the game, we're going to these games, that it really does affect you if that's one of the most important things in your life, that to decline your vote, it's an election that the fans don't have a say-so. And you did pull up an article about how the supporters voted earlier. We were talking about that.
Yeah, it was like a mock supporter vote.
Because supporters didn't have any pull in it. That's the unfortunate thing.
Right. The interesting. But it was basically the elected president scored dead last in a mock poll. Which,
most times that's what happens in the real world. Nobody wanted the guy that actually got elected, but how'd the guy get elected? And this is... At least when we have the U.S. presidential election, it's electoral college where each person kind of has a say. So every person can go and push a button that says, hey, I'm voting for John or Alice. Where this, I kind of feel left out. Hey, yes, one of the leagues that I coach in had a little bit of say-so, but did I actually have any say-so in it? My league decided. My club decided. Did they actually ask me, what do you think?
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't have supported Eric Winalda. Heck no. I'm serious.
My thought was, the supporters, everybody want to change. Everybody was a little salty and sore from the national team, of course, not making the World Cup. So the automatic thought was, hey, we're going to vote for change. We don't want the vice president to become the president because we want a radical change. And nobody really had a reason why they were voting for people. This is just, I'm going through word of mouth and just getting a vibe, but it was an uninformed, reason I was getting. I'm voting for him. Why? Well, we want to make the World Cup. That was pretty much the answer I was getting. I was questioning some fans.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what I got. And I'm a little.
But getting the World Cup, I'm thinking about it. Does that fix U.S. soccer? No. How does that fix U.S. soccer? There are a lot of problems with soccer. Every federation.
But is it fixed? No,
exactly.
No, absolutely. We're talking. I want to know what's going on at the grassroots, not the top. But the top it will help, but it won't fix. Of course not.
Well, my big thing I've been thinking a lot is a lot of the facilities that I do training work at, they have a lot of ODP stuff going on there, and ODP, Olympic Development Program. Okay, let's look at Olympics. When's the last time the men have been in the U.S. U.S. men taking a team to the Olympics? It's been a long time. We're talking decade, over a decade. We keep failing, and I think that's bigger concern that in the last 10 years, our U.S. youth teams aren't winning these things left and right. It used to be, when I guess Freddie Adu was in his prime in his U15, 16s, and that class was winning stuff. They were going to these international tournaments. They wouldn't necessarily always win, but they were making their stamp. So it made you think that, wow, the youth, the U18s are winning stuff. Shouldn't this translate over to the 23s and in the national team? But it didn't. So I think that was a bigger failure not getting the Olympics, because now those players got older, and we could have made the World Cup with one goal. That's crazy to think. Would this election have even happened? Would it have been the same result? We don't know, because one goal, suddenly the U.S. is in the World Cup, and everybody's happy.
I think that's the title for your book.
What? One goal?
One goal. It's all it takes.
It's serious. It like buys you an extra couple
of
years.
Itself right now.
It's like me being a bad employee all year, treating you like garbage. Come give you a Christmas bonus of $10,000. It's like the whole Christmas vacation. You just want that bonus, and I give you jelly of the month, and you got jelly of the month.
So now the structure is in place. Yeah, you're going to hire a coach next. Is that the next move?
That has to be the next move. I mean, they've already.
It's got to be. My
I'm president now. That's my
the same as when Klinsman came in. This is going to be our national formation. This is going to be our structure. This is what we're going to run, and everybody's going to have to do it. Right?
Emphasize a lot of small-sided stuff, like, in the last few years, like, we've seen a lot of changes just within me being coach the last 16 years, and even you, growing up in America and comparing, Italian soccer and American soccer, that all I played growing up was 11v11, 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 and finally we got some like 8v8 stuff in there. And now I'm able to get my players some more touches, smaller field, smaller goals, two sides, and they've progressively build themselves up. Before it was just I only played 11v11 my entire life. So you got like 12-year-old kids on a 20 by 80 yard field, full size goals, and it's a mess.
That's funny.
So we finally got that, realizing scale it down.
So you're realizing there's actually a game to be played next to the corner flag, or other than from 18 to 18.
Yeah, building a strategy within, and also I think that we were talking about this in the green room about bringing in a coach that understands the players, and you were talking about a lot of that with Italy. Italy failed to qualify for the World Cup. So who's in deeper water? Who's in hotter water right now? Italy or U.S.?
Well, Italy is just. It's total destruction of the whole system there. I mean, after they lost, the entire federation resigned. The coach finally resigned, but it's the best. If something like that happens, everybody has to take the blame, and they have to start from scratch and look at themselves and say, you know what, we did things the wrong way, and we're going to fix it.
And that's the thing is, like, you got fingers pointing at Klinsman, you got fingers pointing at Arena, and some say, well, it's not Arena's fault because he kind of inherited this roster. I get that. I can argue that side. He inherits a team that's already deep into CONCACAF qualifications, but they got a big 0 in front of their wins. They got a big 0 in front of their draws. All they had was losses. And he can't just go shake up and develop. He's got to take the roster. But at the end of the day, if you can't get a draw against a team that's only been in the World Cup one time, a country that was playing all their youth players that are hungry and didn't care, that's a scary scenario that you can't get out of your federation. What do you expect to do on the world level?
Yeah, absolutely right about that.
We've talked about this over and over and over, that Klinsman's teams had good results and good records against other European teams, but seem to struggle against some of these small nations in Latin America, struggling against the Caribbean nations. We saw in the Gold Cup where they lose to Jamaica, and you think it's a typo, and then you realize that you're building a team that can play on the world level. You're not building a team that can play in its own backyard.
I mean, I'd like to see if we can get some old tape and play it about, we talked about how the national team was being built to play Europe and play the World Cup winners, but how about these games against Honduras and in Panama?
Yeah.
Against these
it's a different
bad
style of
fields
football
and rough environments. I mean, it's not what the team was built for, and they
pound for
suffered
pound,
dearly.
those athletes are very tough, and that's a neat thing as a college coach. We've had several players from Panama, and we have a connection in Panama. We get a lot of players out of a couple systems in Panama, and these players are some of our best players. And when you think, and then I hear when people say, "Oh, U.S. lost to Panama," I don't understand. I'm like, well, yeah, but what system did those players actually come from?
I think the biggest correlation is to almost like the Eagles last week.
Yeah.
And the hungry dogs.
Yeah.
The South Americans were hungry dogs. That's why every game you'd watch them play, you see the Americans just look like spoiled brats to me. And that's the feeling I got.
Yeah, that's the same thing Alexi Wallace was saying. That
and then those guys in South America, Mexico, they're just hungrier. They wanted more. They wanted to beat the U.S. And
those are scary environments to play in.
I look at it, when you're playing a national game and you can see a car driving by in background, you're in a bad field. And we've seen that many times.
Yeah, and you go back to the arrogance. Something that really I remember them putting up on their social media site, U.S. Soccer, was the whole hashtag was road to Russia was the big thing. Let's do something that rhymes, whatever. Road to Russia. Well, then they started doing hashtag River to Rio, because remember how the field in Trinidad was flooded, and I remember seeing a couple of players getting piggyback rides onto the pitch because they didn't want to walk through the water. And I saw that, I'm like, and it goes back to the thing about like being soft, spoiled. I'm like, how many times I've played on disgusting fields as a player and a coach, do you think I care about getting my feet wet? You know, if the field's wet and I'm avoiding walking through a puddle, my feet are eventually gonna get wet. Might as well just get it wet. Might as well just fall over face
get it
first,
over
and
with,
then, just roll around in the
Mud it
mud.
up.
You're gonna get muddy. You know, it's like saying I just played in a prior game. My jersey's clean. Well, I looked at it when I was a kid when I played defender. If I didn't come home with a dirty jersey and my socks weren't dirty and I wasn't getting on the ground making slide tackles, what did I do? How many balls did I win if my jersey's not a little bit dirty? I'm a defender. I should be diving, sliding, every type of ball, selling my body out. But then it's like this image, like spoiled image. They want to look pretty. It's like I want to look like I just came back from war, you know.
It's a different era. It's not, you know, when we were younger and we wanted to see our team, you know, if our jersey's not ripped and we're not, you know, could barely walk after the game, we didn't give 100. But it's a different time. I mean, I guess, you know,
players
to the
spending
players,
like
they
I
gave
even
it.
noticed with college players and semi-pro players like spending time in the mirror before the game. I'm like, dude, this ain't a beauty. I am dead serious. I ain't gonna call it one of my players, but I've caught some of my college players in front of the mirror for a while. I'm like, yo, bro, and they're like spending time. Like we talked about. Even some females that have gotten a hold of me about players that we know in NWSL seeing their fellow teammates putting makeup for the game on. What do you don't put makeup on?
Look good, feel good.
Exactly.
Look good, play good.
Deion Sanders, man, all those guys like that. You know, I get it, but I was that guy. Just give me some hair grease and gel and just slick the hair back, wet it, you know, and I'm ready to go, man. I don't care about my hair.
Everybody wants to be Ronaldo, but not everybody can play like Ronaldo.
Ooh,
right?
it's true. It's true because people try to replicate that image.
Yeah.
Ooh, he's got a tat here. He's got a tat there. I got to look like him. And how many guys I see now hike their shorts up when they're at practice session? What are you doing hiking your shorts up, man? You know, roll the sleeves up. You
Comfort
know?
is king.
And try not to have the tan lines on their arms, so they roll their sleeves up during the summer session. So it's just. You know, you worry so much about image, so much about social media, and so much about, oh, did you get that on social media? Did you post that coach that nutmeg didn't practice? No, man, no.
Right.
So it's just.
I do agree that grittiness is something that we're lacking on
What do you
the
mean
national
grittiness?
team. Grittiness.
Oh, grit, nitty
gritty.
Yes,
Absolutely, and you know,
just put the hammer down like some guys like a pit bull.
right? Even if we play the games where we know we're out, you know, less talent. On a bad day, away, different weather, that grittiness could get some results.
Like even
no doubt about it.
Like just guys that have it, you know, that you look at that guy, you don't want to face that guy. Like you look like when I think back on Italy, I think Totti. It's like, oh man, any team with Totti on it's got a chance. There are certain guys on the world level. When Klins was playing for Germany, you have that guy on your roster surrounded by other guys, that team's got a chance to win every single possible game that they enter.
I mean, I'm thinking like a Gennaro Gattuso, that guy who you touched the ball,
bulldog.
You're going down.
Yeah.
You're getting, you know, people would think twice about getting the ball in an open field, and I don't think the U.S. has that guy who's going to come up and put the stamp on it. Not even close.
Well, here's the interesting thing
who
is
the sweeper for the U.S. national team? Like who's?
I don't even know anymore.
Right? It's, you know,
It is. It's how do you answer that? People go, name your starting 11. You know, it's like
I could like 4 years ago. I could name.
yeah. A couple years
Nowadays,
ago, you knew. It's
I saw the last game was
friendly.
It
was 0-0. Yeah.
I saw CJ Sapong played in that game. That's it. That's all I know.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you the rest of those players.
Yeah, and then you know all the local media loves it. CJ Sapong, and it says like somebody said like they did the report card. Like, everybody got like D's and C's, and you give him like a B because I don't know why I'm drawing blank who they played, but it was 0-0.
Yeah,
it was a bore
it was
fest.
Madujinen's team.
Yeah.
right.
Oh. Was it Montenegro or no? Was it? It wasn't Serbia. Was it Serbia? It wasn't Serbia. You know what? It's gosh, I feel like a moron. We will get before the after.
It'd be different if we were on a soccer show and didn't know who the
Yeah,
U.S. played. You know,
Oh gosh, Herzegovina. Is that what it was?
we'll go with it.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna get some
But,
people.
But to be honest, like even
It was.
what we do sometimes is we'll throw out their information and we'll look on Twitter. Not even 5 minutes later, people
Somebody will. Yeah, they
correction.
butchered
All
me.
right.
they'll just correct us. Hey, you guys.
When
what are
I
you
said
doing?
like there's not been a back-to-back champion in NWSL, like I'm an idiot. The league's only been in for about 4 or 5 years, and they're like, yeah, Kansas City. I mean, within seconds, somebody's tweeting at me. Dude, I appreciate that when people are like on it because, you know, your mind draws blank, and we've learned that when John and I broadcast games. Like, oh, you got that guy's stat wrong. He scored 3 goals in 1997, not 4 goals. I'm like, you know, when you're broadcasting live games on TV, you don't have the luxury of looking up everything on Wikipedia as you're broadcasting. You're just saying it. But no, with the U.S. election, you know, we were just talking about with the new president, they also on Monday, it was announced that there's going to be some friendlies coming up. We're, as a country, going to play France, Ireland, and Paraguay. So I've got the order actually pulled up. The friendly against Paraguay will be at in Cary, North Carolina, at Wake Med Soccer Park, the home of North Carolina Courage and NWSL, and also that's where the North Carolina team plays, and they will play Paraguay March 27th at 7 p.m. Paraguay also missed out on the World Cup, so I think it'll be a really good match to see teams that are in development. And then June 2nd, we travel to Dublin, Ireland, where the U.S. will take on the Irish national team. It did not make the World Cup either, so they got kind of blanked against Denmark. I remember that they're early in their qualification. I think it was a 0-0 at Denmark, and then they just came back, and Denmark just unleashed fury on Ireland. So that'll be in Dublin, Ireland, June 2nd. They have not announced the time of that game, so it'd be nice to go up to Dublin, Ireland if you want to go up there to see two teams that are not in the World Cup and drink some Guinness. So, that'll be flowing. So this is our pre-only semi-World Cup. We got three group games guaranteed, John, but they're all for nothing. Yeah. And our last one, our grand finale, June 9th, 2018, time to be announced. But in Lyon, France, we will play the French national team.
Oh.
I can see that being a 4-0 beatdown.
It could be we got a new coach and we're going to make a statement game.
This is true, too. Like to see. And France is trying to not get hurt before the World Cup.
Absolutely, right.
All right, we're just trying to get our fitness. Settle down, boys. We're going to the World Cup, Yep. This is their World Cup.
And just to step back, it's Bosnia and Herzegovina was a 0-0 draw.
Yeah.
Just another interesting...
a lot of guys made their debut in that game. Guys that... Yeah. So that part was good. There's a lot of guys that made their debut, but a very boring game.
Very boring game, but for the Philadelphia Union fans out there, Sapong did look kind of fresh on the wing. He did add a little speed.
And maybe this is an opportunity for a guy like this to revitalize his career, get back on the national team, and when you have a new coach in the reins, he might not, and that's my next thing is who's going to be the coach and what loyalties does he have, because you have Bruce Arena who's come back in, and he's going to go pick some of his loyal guys that he had before. So this is, a chance to start over. You have so many players in the player pool. People say, I want to see this guy. I want to see this guy more. This is a perfect opportunity. Give those guys a shot. Let's get rid of the old guys. Let's get nobody over 29 on the team.
I like it.
Or 27 even.
27? Yeah.
27 and up, get off the team.
Yeah.
Because let's think about this. What's our next goal is to get to the next World Cup. That's 22. We start doing those math numbers. How old is that guy got to be in 4 years from now? How's a 27-year-old in 4 years going to contribute to this team? He's got to be one heck of a player.
That's right. Injuries from here till then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Here, I'll give you a random trivia question while I'm looking at the U.S. soccer stat page.
Okay.
Recently, the U.S. women, the U20s, had a tournament match against Mexico in Trinidad and Tobago. I want you to see if you can guess the attendance for the match.
So, U.S. women
U20s
played Mexico U20s in Trinidad and Tobago. So, a neutral site.
A neutral site on January 23rd, 2018.
437.
Want to take a stab at it?
15,000.
Oh.
He went a little higher than me. I went for the over.
It's published at 112. 112.
What?
Did they count the players on the bench?
And we're going to go with the follow-up.
I knew it'd be low because it's a neutral site, and what's the draw? Why in Trinidad would I go to this game?
I'm sorry, that was the 23rd, and then they played again on the 28th.
Okay.
With they doubled the attendance to 275.
Wow. They must have been a buy one, get one free night.
BOGO. Yeah.
Wow.
To throw that in out there for you.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, I coached at a local JUCO, and somehow every game we'd have 75 people to the team, or 80. Always just put in 75 people.
Just put it in.
Just put it in. It was like pre-written article, pre-written box score. So it's no, it is interesting, the attendance thing. At the universities that I coach at, and even when I was with Sky Blue, I would actually count sometimes the fans, and you see the numbers are different. It's one of those tricks of the trade. There's paid attendance and there's the actual attendance.
That's right. And is it one of those where if the club gives out the tickets, it's considered
it's a paid attendance, even though because it's a write-off that they've donated those those tickets have been given out. There's paid attendance and there's actual attendance. Some box scores will put them in like parentheses. They'll have attendance. There are two different numbers. So obviously the high numbers, the sold, and the low numbers, the actual. So it's
going back a couple years when Charlie and myself were play-by-play for the Pennsylvania Roar, an indoor team up in Reading, PA, and we're in Santander Bank Arena, and we were counting it. They put everybody on the TV side, of course, but we were literally counting maybe 25, 26, 27. It might have been a snowy night in Reading. Under 50 people. Look at the published attendance, and it would be, like 350.
Yeah.
Like, no way.
No, yeah, exactly.
No way.
No, it's funny because the cool part about doing that with them is being the employee of a professional team. Me and John got an allotment of tickets by being employees, and we gave it to a lot of our friends. Anytime any of our friends came, we could pick them out.
Right.
And we'd shoot them a text like, hey, just come up and we see you. I see you in section 103. It's like you could pick out all your friends there in the stands. So it's I get it. Numbers are low for that game, but I think that when you look at even MWSL, when there's some very low attended games that, we were just talking about this the last time that Roma, because you're a member of the official Roma supporter club in Philadelphia, and we're going to really get into that in our second half of the show, but that a lot of these friendlies become too expensive. I mean, John, we've done some promotion work for, I remember it was like, what was it? Costa Rica played Ireland, and it was very low attended, and the people promoting it were, we helped promote it. They were kind of upset they didn't sell tickets, and we kept telling from the beginning, you can't charge like the $100 a ticket for a friendly in Chester. It's just
serious.
Yeah, hundreds of dollars they won, and yeah, we agreed our end was to promote it on our website. We did our end, and then they're just like, I don't understand why nobody's going to this game. Like we kept telling you from the beginning. This was I believe it was Costa Rica versus Ireland, and it was a World Cup warm-up match.
Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. Hundreds of dollars, and you might get a few of the Irish to come out. I went to really go see, hey, Costa Rica, because they're actually going to be in the World Cup, but it's they also had another friendly, a different company did this one. It was Nigeria and Greece at PPL Park. Nigeria and Greece, I remember that, but that was actually going a lot through the union. They gave the school I was working for and the clubs I was working, they just started handing us tickets, like they just started throwing tickets. I got donated about 2,000 tickets to get out because they realized that we probably put these tickets too high, and it's a couple days before the game. We might as well just give as many out as we can. But the other company would refuse to give out tickets. I remember that. They refused, and we're like, you're a couple days from the game, and you haven't sold tickets. We told you guys you can't have tickets for hundreds of dollars for a game that's completely meaningless. And they could go, yeah, but you're seeing Costa Rica. I'm like, the average person in America doesn't give a crud. Even Costa Ricans are like, why should I pay hundreds for a game that doesn't matter?
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing the union do get is that they give those tickets away for free.
Yes, like even Open Cup, they realize comes close to time. Let's get fans in a seat because those fans are going to beverage it up.
Right.
They're going to eat.
Pay for parking.
Yeah, so they have the was it Roma and Inter played each other a few years ago, and that was very lowly attended. And we said because hundreds of dollars. John and I are very fortunate that we get press passes, but you as a fan,
I'm a huge Roma fan, but I'm not going to spend $120, $150 for a ticket.
Yeah,
no way.
We've talked about that I've gone to matches in Europe and paid less for tickets. I went and saw Barcelona play in a real game. I paid after, if you look at it, it was like 150 euros. So it was about $180. I paid for 2 tickets about 13 rows behind the goal. Wow. Pay $180. So you telling me I'm going to spend $200 on a game that doesn't matter at the link versus I can just, hey, man, if you really did the math, the amount of money, I'll pay an extra $200 to get a flight over there, and get a cheap, Airbnb, and I might have only spent $100 more.
Maybe if they threw in like a meet and greet with Totti or something,
There you go.
Maybe. And this ticket comes with a meet and greet with Totti, Yeah, sure. We'll jump in on that. But I think that's the big thing is we also said that friendlies are harder to sell now that the MLS is established in a lot of these cities. People don't want to pay a ton of money to see a friendly versus I can pay a third of the price and see a game that actually matters.
I mean, to my recollection, I think every friendly that I've gone to has been either on a Tuesday, a Wednesday. It's usually midweek. It's not. I don't believe they're.
Yeah, because I remember seeing
slots.
when Union played Celtic in 2010. It was on a Wednesday. I got very lucky at my birthday, so that's the only reason I went. It was my birthday, but I probably wouldn't have gone. It's a Wednesday, like 7:00, and I'm like.
Who did they play at the Link? It was Man U, right?
Man U, their first season they played Man U. In their second season they played Real Madrid at the Link. So
that was a Saturday night game, I think, because they had a huge attendance. For
because it was Ronaldo and all his squad. So, but yeah, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're listening to World Sports Show on WPPN LP. Stay right where you are.
This is Denise, and you're listening to World Sports Show on WPPM 106.5 Philadelphia.
World Sports Show throwback.
Yeah, exactly. So definitely a feeder team has done great in getting players into the college levels, semi-pro levels, and now, now we're really getting on the track of, hey, we put players in the MLS. So another player that really, I think, has become a name and face of Philadelphia, does a lot of community work, does a lot of good in the community, and just a guy that I think is just a stand-up citizen, and none other than Ray Gaddis. Caught up with him after the game. Charlotte World Sports Show, Ray Gaddis. Always good to walk away with a point. I mean, you guys battled tonight. What's to say about this club just to come down from a goal late and just tie it up?
It just shows where we left off last year. Last year we had a couple of good results where we came back and battled back. That's the standard, especially playing at home. We definitely want to win every game at home, but it's good that we didn't drop points and the team played well tonight.
Sports Show, Charlie Flowe here, John DiCriscio, Black Privilege. We're in the studio at Philly Cam on WPPM Philadelphia. A little bit cool night in Philadelphia, impending snowstorm, but we got some hot jams coming up for you. Got some great music. Black Priv is a West Philadelphia native. Are you West Philadelphia native?
Yeah, I'm from West Philly. What's up?
Okay. What part of West Philly are you from?
I'm from everywhere in West Philly.
Everywhere in West Philly.
Anywhere in West Philly you name, I probably lived over there.
There's different styles of rap even within Philly.
Right, most definitely.
So how did you get into the whole rap industry? It had to start somewhere.
Pretty much like I was just growing up in Philly, we big on hip hop culture and stuff like that, and just music in general, you know what I mean? So I was just rapping all the time, like where I'm from in my neighborhood, and I ain't really think I was that good, but I guess everybody else, they was feeling the music, so.
And now, back to the WPPM studios in Philadelphia. This is the World Sports Show.
I'm working and thinking I'm blowing on some...
And welcome back to World Sports Show. Charlie Flowe here with John DiCriscio and Gigio Longo. We're just having a little chat about his participation and his membership with the Philadelphia Roma Supporter Club, the official supporters club. And it is very interesting that there are a lot of supporters clubs in this world, and some are just for having fun. But you guys are an official Roma supporters club, and where do you guys usually get together and watch your games at?
Roma Club is an official sanctioned supporters club of AS Roma, and we get together at Gran Caffe L'Aquila every Saturday or Sunday, or depending on a Champions League game, Wednesday, and watch Roma play.
And I think it's interesting that Philadelphia is such a big, diverse city that we're big enough now to have multiple supporter clubs, and there's different little pockets to go watch the game at. I mean, all of us here remember growing up, it was such a struggle to find any of these live games. Now it's not only we can get together, but now there's restaurants and official supporters clubs. And what are some of the perks of you guys being an official supporters club?
Some of the perks of being an official supporters club was very fun time. About 2 weeks ago, we were live on Rai Sport. They did a FaceTime,
Okay.
With the
Yeah.
So during the Roma game, before the Roma game, during halftime, and after the game, they went live to Gran Caffe L'Aquila, and they talked to myself and an old Roma friend of mine who's part of the Roma club, and we just talked about the game. He talked for me because my Italian is very a little. I can understand if you talk to me Italian, I understand every single word you say. But when I talk back, it's like a little mixed up.
Okay.
And so I had somebody with me that I've known my entire life. He's like a lifelong Roma fan, and he just kind of went off, and it was like his shining moment because he was a Roma. Because we both grew up, young kids in the area as Roma fans
on the Roma broadcast.
So for him to be on the Roma broadcast was like his like moment of glory because when we were little kids, he would get these newspapers called the Gazzetta dello Sport. This is going back 25, 30 years, that he would get at the Italian newspaper stands, like somewhere like in Pensalkin, at the Pensalkin Mart.
Wow.
And he would read about Roma because back then there was no internet. You couldn't read about what was going on. So he would have stacks and stacks, and I'd be like, Pete, what's going on with Roma? And he would tell me. But to have him on the air was great just to see him do that too because he was
such a lifelong dream.
Yeah, so that was a really cool perk. We had some good drink deals at Gran Caffe for the Roma Club, and then
Can't argue with that.
Yeah, so we had Roma Club scarves. Tickets to the game if you want to go. If you go to Rome, the Roma Club can get tickets for you in the supporter section.
Or else would you want to be, though?
Yeah. And then I was at the Derby last year. Went to Roma Lazio, and I actually passed on those tickets though because the curve of suit intimidates me a little bit. It's a big difference between.
I think that's the neat part when people. I had that moment. I've been to quite a few European games, and then getting to the stadiums early. And I went to the last game. I went into an EPL. I went to an Arsenal game, and I have no allegiance to Arsenal, but still, it's a European football match, and it's the highest level you can be at. Just seeing the banners, and I see a Philly Arsenal thing hanging, and it does give you that kind of like, wow, man, that's pretty legit. A lot of these they'll go hang those banners for you guys. And I'm sure you've seen photos of that. Wow, they're hanging your banner in our stadium.
We have a guy at the game.
Yeah,
every Saturday or Sunday that hangs our banner, a Roma Club Philadelphia banner.
Italian guy has a guy.
Yeah,
I got a guy in Rome,
Massimo.
Yeah, that just. I think that the neat part is John and I have talked about that channel he's talked about, and I've always mispronounced it. I don't know why I'm an idiot. I always call it Ray. But that's kind of when I first moved to Philadelphia and didn't really have cable. Those are the few things that we could watch. You would get Serie A. I discovered this Italian channel. I called my friends. I'm like, I can watch soccer, man. I found this channel over the air. I don't know where it is. You just got to click here and there, and then certain days that they have soccer. I don't speak a word of Italian, but that's what I love about the game. It doesn't even matter. It was just 10, 15 years ago before all these networks were covering soccer. That's when you and I met, John, about that long ago. I mean, maybe about 15, 16 years ago, you and I became friends, and you would have to go to a certain bar, Italian bar.
Absolutely.
But then if you couldn't make it there.
What was your bar?
I actually
Dark Horse.
I started watching it Fado when it first started, and Dark Horse discovered it. I discovered it by accident. I was just there getting lunch and had something on the thing that said English Premier League every Saturday, Sunday. I'm like, what? I said, yeah, but it's like $10 a pop. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't care. I'm tired of having to go on the internet or, like you said, get a newspaper clipping to see how my favorite team did.
Right. No.
And
I remember going back to watching old, Philadelphia had Sports Channel America.
Yeah.
And it would broadcast Rye games, and it would, Del Piero was young. It was all the stars, but it was, the quality was terrible because it would, be transferred satellite driven to the U.S.
We didn't care.
No, nobody cared. It was cutting edge back.
Whatever below VCR quality is, that's what it was.
For some reason, the quality is still terrible. If you watch BN, I'm just like, this is supposed to be HD. This is ridiculous.
That's funny.
It's different versions, but that like you said with the FaceTime, things like that, applications that you can get instantaneous. Like you can see videos that happen as they happen, or news before it happens almost. Before it's, John and I have talked about this on the show, that you would have to wait for some VHS to come out at some sports store or randomly find it at a flea market. Hey, I just found, that's what I would do. I'd go to flea markets and stuff and just try to find that VHS tape of best goals, best tackles, or and you buy it. You didn't think about it as a kid. You didn't care it was Dutch, Italian, German, Bundesliga highlights. You would just, even for the team you hated, I'm buying that VHS tape to watch soccer.
Get them blank VHS tapes, double them for your friends.
Yeah.
My coach in high school would just put those on for us and play them all the time. Because
That's what we do.
You didn't watch. You couldn't watch soccer on TV back in the 90s, early 90s.
I tell my kids in training session, okay, you want to learn about, playing to the foot of the keeper, go on YouTube. And the kids are like, really? I'm like, yeah, you don't realize how easy it is. You want to watch a drill? Okay, we're going to run a 3-2 win over attacking thing, a 3 versus 2. Go on YouTube and watch. I tell them, find a goalkeeper if you do goalkeeper. Find a defender, go look at that player, how they play. And you can just type that player's name and watch a million highlights. I mean, in a way, I think it made us appreciate the game more because of how we had to go to get it. We had to jump through hoops to go watch soccer.
Yeah, no kidding. Late night broadcast. That's I think a lot of Philadelphians are Arsenal fans just because they would broadcast a ton of Arsenal games back in the early '90s and on the
the Invincibles were big then, and that's really
big and
rose to
pumped in.
Yeah, I remember going to Flowe for months on end, and that was the Invincibles, and I was never a fan of it, but there's certain teams you enjoyed watching. Like I enjoyed watching, was it the 90 or the late 90s Manchester teams when they were winning the trebles? And never was a Manchester fan, but I was almost a fan of their brand.
If you want to admit it, you can.
I actually did join the Manchester United Supporters Club. I know that people probably want to punch me in the face now because they know I like Chelsea. But why did I join it? So I could get the perks, just like the perks of the Roma. I might join the Roma club. Hey, the family wants to go to Rome. Hey, I'm a member of this. I can go buy some tickets. But it's sometimes you join these clubs for those perks that hey, I want to go to Rome and see a game. There's like this bucket list of stadiums and games that I want to see before I die.
Stadio Olimpico is a special place.
Yeah, just these different things and like the derbies and stuff like that. Different teams playing each other.
It's interesting.
And you've been to Italy, so I have not. I'm one of. There's 3 people in there, and I'm the only one that's not been to Italy in this room.
So while we were talking real quick, I Google mapped my walk to Stadio Olimpico, and it started from my hotel right around the Coliseum.
That's a long walk.
That's a very long walk. Because
wait, they don't play at the Coliseum anymore?
You would think. By the way I walked, I was...
Scalper sold me tickets to game at this Coliseum.
Yeah, so my story started out, I was in a hotel down there right by the Spanish Steps, and I wanted really to go see a game. So I wanted to go see a Roma game, got rained out. My next choice was a Lazio game. Any information around the Spanish Steps, I asked everybody.
Don't mention that name. If you go to Grand Caffe Lockway, no one.
I'll be here for the Lazio game.
We call it. It's the other team from Rome.
The other team. I found that out the hard way. So me going over there support. I just wanted to go see a game. It doesn't matter who was playing. I just wanted to see a top tier teams play. So I'm like, all right, let me take a walk. So my walk turned into 2 hours, 3 hours. I'm asking.
That's a journey, man.
So I found an usher with a bright jacket on. So I'm like, talking to the guy, didn't speak English. I'm like, I'm just going to follow you in. I want to go see the game. Followed him in, got a couple words in. 10 minutes, I was going the wrong way. Walked me right to the game, right to the stadium. I didn't have GPS, no phone, no nothing.
Right. That's awesome.
And then got in there, walked up to the stadium, seen the beautiful statues around, huge, the smell of the food, the street food. Yeah. And then, I'm going to go up to the ticket window. So I'm like, all right, let me give the €30 tickets. I pointed. The lady slams the door on me, yells at me, and pretty much get away. I pointed to the supporter section, the away supporter section, to get at the front gate by accident. And she just slammed the gate on me. So I had to walk around to the other side, and then I figured I'm not going to point to there. So I got it in the supporter section, walked in, was going through the gate. I didn't know you can – I had a couple beers on me at the time, like a can. I was so thirsty. It was hot out.
Sure. I was thirsty. Officer, I was thirsty.
I swear I was thirsty. So I walked in, and the guards were laughing at me because I was drinking them and throwing them away because I thought that you couldn't walk them in.
Huh.
So I get in there, and it was like the most family-oriented supporters I've ever seen. Everybody had food and was sharing it down the lanes.
Dude, that's sick.
And it was an awesome time. But I'm like, here, and then the day turned into night. I'm looking up, seeing the statues up outside, on the hillside. It was just an amazing event. But the culture was great, the food was great. But to cap the story off, after the game, I didn't know how to take the train back. I saw that there was a line to get back. So didn't know how to pay.
Just follow the masses.
Didn't know anything.
When in Rome.
Followed the masses, jumped on.
Chaos.
Door opened up. I jumped off and ran. I didn't know if I was going to get picked up, but it worked out well. I got home safe and sound. So there's my Lazio story.
That's awesome.
Oh, that was a sweet story.
That's awesome.
A couple Peronis in there.
So your cafe is only it's at 16th and Chestnut, right?
16 Chestnut Street.
All right. So I was off by a block. That's why I was looking. No, I was kidding. No, I did want to thank your staff at Al's Pizza. I had pizza there for lunch today. Amazing. And you brought up a point about Al's Pizza that Americans, we're used to just going in and get a slice. And these slices, especially in Philly, you can get those slices that are like the size of a shingle. It's like you can get big ones. I could cover my house with a couple slices. So, but you explained to me that pizza is completely different in Italy. I mean,
Right.
Yeah, everybody thinks of Italian places and a pizza, and I feel like it's so Americanized. But your places, you pay per the ounce of the pizza.
Right. Well, what we have here in the U.S., the Brooklyn-style slice, is very different than the way Italians have been eating their pizza forever, pretty much. So if you go to Italy, there's two types of pizza you can eat. You can get the Neapolitan pizza, which is like a 10-inch pie, personal pizza.
Okay.
Or you get the pizza al taglio. When you go to pizza al taglio, the pizza comes out in pans, and it's not pre-cut to a size slice that somebody might just get. It's served to how much the customer wants. Almost like you're going to a butcher and you say, you know what, give me a pound of the baked ham or honey turkey. You're like, give me 5 ounces of pepperoni, 5 ounces of one of the mushroom, and throw in some eggplant. And that's what our customers they do, and it's been pretty well so far. I think it's a little bit of a learning curve, but
Sure.
I think Philly will get it.
Yeah, because I want to slice it out. I want to slice it out. Sometimes I realize, all right, I'm just going to cut a standard 2 or 3 inch piece because that's what Americans use at a standard size. And
Right.
I tried something today that actually was amazing, an apple pizza. Now, how was that made? I had to ask because it was like a dessert pizza.
No, it's very good. So our dough is, we import our flour from Italy, and it's from Lazio, from Rome, and it's a no GMO, 100% organic, 00 flour. So it's the flour, water, sunflower oil, and a little bit of salt. So it's like a vegan dough.
Okay.
And then on that pizza with the apple you had, it was just roasted apple.
Oh, man.
But the apple, the key secret ingredient, is
You can't let it out here.
sambuca.
Okay.
So we dip the apples in sambuca.
Okay.
And then bake it, and then put like an apricot glaze on top.
Huh.
It's delicious.
Telling you, John, I still got some in my fridge. I was able to. It was so good. I'm like, I want to have this when I get home tonight. I only ate half of my lunch just on that purpose. And then you did to bring in some pizza tonight too. So it's all good. And make up to 41 different kind of pizzas. So if you're on a diet, oh well, you got to do a lot of walking. So it's definitely worth it.
Well, besides at Gran Caffe having we have the Roma Club there, we have Milan Club, we have a Juventus Club, we have a Napoli Club. So we're a lot of Italian soccer local clubs that come to watch.
Yeah.
But besides that, we also have, I would say, a good soccer culture of fans that come, athletes that come.
Yeah.
So we've had like Hope Solo come in. She loves the place a couple times. Fafa Pico's coming. He comes in like nonstop. When the season's on, he's in all the time. Ray Gaddis was in the other day.
Yeah, good buddy of ours, the show, Ray Gaddis.
Deuce was in. He was like around the corner at the hotel. So like it has that European sensibility that I think like soccer athletes like. So they come in. Oh my God! When Montreal was here, Montreal was owned by Saputo Cheese, which is an Italian company.
Yep.
So like the entire coaching staff and half the players are Italian. So they were the 3 days that Montreal was in town. They like lived at Gran Caffe L'Aquila.
Set up some cots in the back. Why not?
Yeah, it was really funny because they would come in their. At first, I thought they were supporters. I'm like, wow, Montreal supporters travel really well because they came in their.
Wow, are you rooting for Montreal? No, man, I'm kind of rooting for them because I coach them, man.
And that was a rough game because I felt when Union played Montreal, that was like a pivotal game for us. Like Montreal, we were sort of in the same
that was
level.
this season, man. We were up 3-0 in that game.
Yeah, so I was like, if we win this game, I was like, I think we'll move ahead. But
yeah.
No, we lost 3-0 that game.
Is that the one? Because
that's the game that we got trounced.
Okay, because I remember there was a couple games that were back and forth. Yeah. So it was a very rough year.
And Fafa, he comes in all the time, and he has I'm on the hotline, so he'll text me after he came, and he'll be
Hotline bling.
and he'll be like, hey man, because he played in Sardinia for Serie, he played Serie A for a couple of years, so he like feels like at home there. So he like texts me, he's like, hey man, can you make some pasta for me? I'm like, yeah, sure, come on, and I'll cook something up for you. So he's sitting there, the restaurant's closed, he's eating some pasta at the bar, and all these Montreal players come up and they're like banging on the door. They're like, hey man, Derek, can we come in? Can we come in? And I'm just like, and I turn it off. I'm like, is it cool? And he's like, yeah, let him in.
Come on, man. You got people banging on the door, It's a good like advertising thing, like so good, It's like people banging on doors for
all these guys from Italy. They love the food and gelato so much that they're like every night it felt like they were at home.
Yeah, you were telling me something neat that there's like a gelato championship in Italy, and your gelato guy won it.
Right, yeah, Stefano, he's the gelato champion of Italy.
And there is a trophy for that. And is that there at your restaurant?
It's there. Yeah.
I want to go get that. Food trophies. We talk about food all the time on World of Sports Show. I like that, John. We should look in for the 2018 to have some like food trophies.
Up until last Sunday was the only trophy that Philadelphia has won in a long time.
Oh, sorry. We don't have a big enough cabinet for the Lombardi trophy. We already
we have a Gelato trophy.
Yeah, exactly.
Our second best trophy.
Exactly. Wow. So yeah, business is going to drop off now. You got to compete with the Lombardi trophy. No, I think it's great. We talked about this idea on World Sports Show a few weeks back, and we're looking to do a preseason ranking for the maybe MLS and the Women's League, doing a tailgate pregame experience, and something I would like to even research within Europe of we're so used to our culture going down to a Union game and tailgating like hours ahead of time. John, you'll get down there 6 hours before the game. I'm waking up. John's already down there fishing. So it's different. I learned in Europe. It's go to the pub, but in America, it's we've adopted with our soccer teams that you show up and go to the parking lot and you grill and drink beer and just kind of hang out with your friends.
If the stadium was in Philly, I think we'd have a different culture.
Oh yeah, we would
big time. I think we'd have 50,000 people showing up to games too.
Yeah, you would adopt all the ethnic groups of Philadelphia, and it would just. I really thought that was a big mistake. I really wish they would have built that stadium in South Philly.
Oh yeah, South Philly.
I live in South Philly. I walk to Eagles games.
Oh, I mean, even if they did in North Philly, anywhere in Philly, anywhere that could be walkable from Center City.
Yeah, why like Portland, both men and women in Portland get so well supported is people walk to the game, ride their bikes to the game. I mean, it's the coolest thing. One of my first ever European experiences, well, besides going to game in Munich, that sits outside the stadium. That's kind of the idea, like the Eagles Stadium. It's way outside the city, but went to an Arsenal game, and it's like, whoa, you get off the subway in the stadium. It's like, I get off the subway in the stadium. It's there.
Yeah. Do you think it would help if the Union did one game in town, like at Franklin Field, once a year? If they did like,
I like the idea of a Franklin Field game.
They did like a Derby day at Franklin Field. Or do you think that would hurt the brand? Like people,
I don't think it would hurt
try to sell PPL Park, but then
I like the idea of a Franklin Field friendly, or not friendly, just a Franklin Field game that actually counts. I mean, you're talking University City, West Philly has become a very hot part of Philadelphia. I mean, I went to Drexel, and it wasn't even like
I'm a Drexel grad too.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't as big when I was there in the early 90s and into the late 90s, but now it's a big. Yeah. Now you got all the hipsters ride their bikes to the game. I mean, you better have some bike racks there.
Here's the thing: if you have the game in that area, you got the SEPTA, pretty much the same track.
Yeah, 30th Street Station. It's like a 3-block walk from 30th Street.
So you're shooting. That's your transportation.
You're not going to get the parking, but you're going to draw in the people that can walk to the game. You're talking anybody in Center City can take the South Street Bridge, Walnut, Market, Chestnut. I mean, that feeling of walking to a game. We don't have that feel in Philadelphia, and there's like,
to me, like if you had like what the SOBs do every game, where they they march from, I forget where they are now, but like on past Lot A, whatever. They did a walkover, but if they did it, say through the city to the game, I think that would be really incredible feeling for the city. I think the city. One of the things, the city doesn't get the vibe. Like, when the Eagles play, it's game day in the city. When Union play. Oh, Union are playing today?
Yeah, because that's a 20-mile drive south.
That's right.
Yeah, you have to actually plan it. You can't just go to the game. Like, how many games John and I have gone to in our whatever 15, 16 years of being friends? Of somebody will John will text me, hey, I got Eagles tickets like hour before the game, or hey, I just came up with 2 Flyers tickets. It's 2 hours before the game. Let's go. Or somebody says I got an extra Union ticket. Sometimes people, I sometimes can't give them away because I got a plan to get there. But when you have a city team, it's like, okay, cool, I'll just hop the bus. I'll walk to the game. So, I mean, it's definitely something that I hope changes. I don't want to see it. That stadium's awesome, but I would have loved if that stadium would have been like even down in South Philly near the water or something like that. There's a lot of abandoned piers, and even just right in the center city area, just right below Penn's Landing, there's a ton of like piers that are just like what are storage containment units. Like, why couldn't there have been something right there on the water? But a lot of it's parking and money. So, but we'll see. But no, it's good that we're such a level now, like in Center City, that you have specific like Irish, English, Italian restaurants where people can go to watch this league. It's not like I'm just trying to watch any soccer. So,
right.
You guys have created somewhere people can eat and actually hang out and watch the game. And,
there's something not right about watching Italian soccer in an Irish pub. I could never get behind it. Like, my friends would be like, I'm going to go watch Roma play, and if I do, I'm like, no.
You got to have it Italian. Yeah. I love all the different, varieties, but it is interesting. Like you said, we're watching this. I'm watching Bundesliga.
It's a totally
and then now there's
vibe.
German bars.
Yeah. Now
I've got Italian bars. If I want to watch this, and especially Champions League, it really, then you can really bring out the rivalry. So it's just, so.
Oh, yeah.
Again, your address for is at
1716 Chestnut Street.
And then Alice Pizza, your other place is at 15th and Locust. So
15th and Locust, yeah.
A lot of good desserts there. I did not try the desserts, though. If you check out my social media, I've put up different desserts, and it looks like art when you get such a, like, I don't want to eat it.
You're a sweet guy? You like sweets?
I love sweets,
yeah.
man. I think every coach or any athlete, loves it because you feel like you earned it, I think it's because wasn't not a lot of treats as a kid, but after a hard game, sometimes you just want to like get just carb load and eat after you play a game. Now it's like coach and don't play. I still carb load. I just coached for 2 hours. I need to eat.
Well, the dessert case is filled with some of South Philly's finest. It's a lot of Isgro stuff in there. So
I know all about them. John's turned me on to Isgro.
Isgro's the best cookies in town.
Oh man, this is a city that likes to eat, and we talk about us being an underdog city. I would put this city up against any city in the world for food.
Food, fans, absolutely.
Yeah.
We got it.
I mean, we proved it this week with 4 million people.
Yeah, exactly. And Jason Kelsey's words, if I don't eat breakfast, I'm effing pissed off.
It's true. I 100% agree. I'm like, I know where you're coming from, man.
Exactly. And it's so true. It's. I've skipped lunch. I've skipped dinner, but dude, I'm one of these people. I can't not have something in my stomach, and you'd keep taking away from or not allowing us to have. Yeah, we might be a little rough around the edges, but in a way, I think it makes us prove that we are the best fans because we care that much.
My employees know. Don't talk to me until I have my cappuccino and a croissant.
So now, awesome. Is it? What's the hours of your cafe? Are you guys 7 days a week? And
Gran Caffe is open 7 days a week. We open at 7 a.m. Every day. No, Monday through Friday, and Saturday and Sunday open at 8. And then on the weekends, Monday through Friday, we close at Monday through Thursday we close at 10, and then Friday and Saturday we close at 11.
That's good to know.
Same hours for Alice.
Okay. I'll have to go check out a Serie A game there sometime soon.
Yeah.
And the Alice Pizza.
I would say if you guys are off on the 25th, we're doing a joint meetup, Roma Club and Milan Club.
Okay.
Ooh.
It's going to be crazy.
We'll have to get the camera and roll to some footage.
25th of what? Oh, February?
It's going to be a good turnout. It's going to be a great turnout. We're going to have a lot of people, and everyone's really cool. We have a cool vibe. Because that's my whole sort of vibe that I want to keep. I want to keep everybody on a level. I don't want anybody to get too crazy, too violent, too fanatical.
Yeah.
So because
No, you can finish it up. We're just going to be signing off.
Because really what I'm trying to do is just promote the game and promote soccer and Serie A. That's what we do there.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. Appreciate your time. This is World Sports Show. I'm Charlie Flowe. He's John DiCriscio. We are out. We'll be back next week, Monday night, 9 o'clock. Check us out at worldsportshow.com.
Thank you for watching a World Sports Show production. For more info, go to worldsportsshow.com.